Welcome to the distribution team kickoff for GitLab 13.3. I'm Larissa Lane. I'm the product manager for distribution. We have a lot of great things planned for the 13.3 release. Today, I'm just going to cover about 7 or 8 of the highlights of what we'll be working on. First up, we've been working really closely with Red Hat to build an operator that supports running GitLab itself on OpenShift. As part of this work, we want to investigate whether we can use the GitLab Helm chart and have the operator consume that Helm chart so that we can continue to configure new GitLab features within the Helm chart and then have the operator handle day 2 operations of deploying on OpenShift, such as backing up GitLab and upgrading GitLab. So we have a proof of concept scheduled for 13.3 to do some more investigation on how this might work. Next up, in GitLab 13.2, we added support for using Postgres 12 for single node installs and single node upgrades. The next phase of the Postgres 12 support will be validating that it works on multi-node installs. So installs where you have multiple Postgres nodes set up using replication and failover, and also looking at validating geo. So one thing to note here is that we have in the past used Rep Manager to replicate and failover Postgres nodes. The version of Rep Manager that we use doesn't support Postgres 12. So if you are interested in using Postgres 12, just keep in mind that you'll need to migrate from Rep Manager to Patroni, which was newly added into the Omnibus package, and use Patroni for handling replication and failover. So you'll need to do that migration first before you can upgrade to Postgres 12. And also on the theme of Patroni, while we added Patroni as an experimental feature in 13.2, we are still validating using Patroni with a geo secondary site configured. We did some testing of this in 13.2. We ran up against some replication issues for replicating to the geo secondary. So in 13.3, we'll continue to be testing and doing more work to support using Patroni with geo. And next, we have been doing some work for the last couple of milestones to look at the best way to encrypt LDAP secrets that are stored in GitLab configuration files. So these are the secrets that are used to connect to your LDAP server for signing into GitLab using LDAP credentials. We've been working on a proof of concept in 13.2, and we're going to continue working on that proof of concept throughout the 13.3 milestone. And another item that we were working on 13.2 made really good progress, but haven't quite completed the work, so we'll continue to work on it in 13.3, is adding support for configuring prefect in the GitLab Helm charts. So this is if you want to set up multiple Gitly nodes for scaling out a Gitly cluster, and this will support being able to configure that in the GitLab Helm charts. These next two relate to being able to support KMS encryption when storing objects in AWS. So a couple of things we're working on here that have been ongoing for a little while are, this one is being able to configure credentials for Workhorse to connect to AWS object storage. And this next one is a really nice improvement that's been made. The last one and this one both relate to being able to configure it in the GitLab Helm charts. So this one is consolidating the settings for configuring object storage. So this example here is the way that object storage used to be configured in the Helm chart. You would have a block for each type of object, and you would have to specify the connection details for connecting to the AWS object storage for every object type block. The new way, which is shown here, is that you only have to configure the connection details once, and then those connection details can be used for all the different types of objects that you want to store on AWS. So a nice time saver there. Next, we have had some community work that is working on supporting running GitLab itself on ARM64. So fantastic community contribution has been made there. There's a little bit of work we need to do on our side to support that, and we have that scheduled for 13.3. So this is to build out the hardware and pipelines to support building an omnibus package for running GitLab on ARM64. And finally, we've been making great progress on the Orchestrator tool, which is the tool that we're building to automate deploying a large-scale installation of GitLab that's scaled out across multiple nodes, including a geosecondary site. So we recently closed out the MVP for this work, and the MVP is for internal use to use the Orchestrator to spin up environments for testing GitLab upgrades on large-scale deployments and with Geo. And that MVP includes support for creating and configuring 3 console nodes, 3 database nodes, and 1 application node, and also a geosecondary site. So the next phase of work that we have coming up in 13.3 is to expand on the node types. So we'll be adding a load balance support for deploying a load balancer, Gitterly nodes, and Redis nodes. Also a lot of other work happening for the Orchestrator in 13.3. So feel free to jump in and use these filters here. So if you filter by the Orchestrator label and the 13.3 milestone, you'll be able to dig in a little deeper on the work that's being done there. Thank you so much. I look forward to providing more updates in a month from now.